All right, everyone. Everyone on House Intel that was in the GOP has called for little Adam Schiff to resign, mainly because he made objective statements. He made positive statements with regards to two important things. He claimed that there was evidence objectively. He didn't say, well, there could be, well, I think, well, I suppose. He said, there is evidence of collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. That is a lie. He made an objective claim. He was wrong. He hasn't apologized for it. He claimed that Donald Trump's son, Don Jr., committed perjury before Congress with regards to that. That was a lie. No evidence of that was found by the Mueller report. He was definitely the subject of that investigation. Yes, Schiff should resign. In fact, he should be impeached from his position altogether, and he should be kicked out of the House of Representatives. But the people claiming this are partisan, number one, largely. People from an unbiased perspective might understand what he did wrong, but I mean, it's going to look partisan because the people who support him, they're all a bunch of partisan Democrats. Most of the people that want him gone will be partisan Republicans. Most of the rest of the population doesn't really give a fuck. They probably don't know enough about the issue to judge that fairly anyway, so they shouldn't even weigh in on it. It's going to look partisan, and it's kind of pie in the sky. The idea that the minority within the House is going to have the power to get the ranking member of one of these important committees thrown to the side is very low. The odds of that are low because the Democrats right now are chomping at the bit to continue their harassment of Donald Trump. They lost Senate. The Senate proceedings cleared him completely. The Mueller probe has cleared him completely. All they can do now is whine impotently about how Barr is part of a massive conspiratorial cover-up on behalf of Trump and the Russians. Or they can continue their own harassment by dragging everyone that was part of the Mueller probe before Congress over and over and over again to give their opinions. And what they'll do is they'll do what they did with Cohen, which is the Cohen testimony that he gave before they tossed him in a cell for lying to Congress sometime before, oddly enough. Virtually all he was prompted to say by the Democrats there was opinion. He was prompted to give his feelings, not anything objective. No new evidence was offered. He claims that there are tapes of all sorts of clients of his, and yet for some reason there's no tape of Trump. That was never given forth. He was unable to back up anything that he said, and a lot of it boiled down to what he felt, really, not what he had observed. Well, that doesn't make any sense. In a legal proceeding, he would be laughed at by the court. His testimony would have been considered void. It would have been considered meaningless. Saying, well, I feel that this person had malice when they attacked. I feel that this person acted in self-defense. What does the evidence show? That's not evidence. That's a claim. For the most part, a simple claim cannot be on its own evidence of anything. It can back up actual evidence. It can back up circumstantial evidence. It can back up a best guess. It's like, okay, this person doesn't have an alibi. Their prints are on the murder weapon. It doesn't prove, we don't have video evidence or anything that they killed the person, but here's this other person who says they witnessed it. That strengthens the case. But if it's just a case of they saw it, and that's the only evidence that you have, and through investigation you find fucking nothing else, it's not evidence of anything. It is completely and totally fucking meaningless. So yes, Schiff should absolutely resign. He has definitely failed to carry out the duties of his position. He's acted in a partisan manner. He did defraud the public. He made a claim, and the claim was false. He claimed that a U.S. citizen, who is not currently in elected office, namely Trump's son Don Jr., committed perjury. He didn't say, well, I think he might have committed perjury today. No, he said he committed perjury. He made a declarative statement. For that alone, he should lose his position in the House altogether. By the way, when the Democrats say, we want the full Mueller report released, it's sour grapes, and it's not going to happen, and I'll tell you why. Again, for anyone who didn't hear me talk on this before, the Mueller report cannot be fully released because there's confidential information regarding thousands of U.S. citizens in there who did not get any indictment. You can't do that. The Fourth Amendment bars you from doing so. The public cannot know intimate personal details about the subject of an investigation that was never actually charged with anything. It would be a gross miscarriage of justice. It would be totally unconstitutional. I mean, it'd be crazy. In fact, if Barr were to okay such a thing, Barr would get disbarred. He wouldn't be the acting attorney general for very long if he did that, and the Democrats themselves would come down on his head. Really what it is a trap. It's to try to get Trump and Barr and all these others to circle the wagons. Trump spent 2 years laughing at the Mueller probe because he knew that it was going to exonerate him. He sat back and just let it take its course while making sure to rally his own captive audience by saying it was a witch hunt, which it's looking more and more like it was. What significant crimes were found other than Manafort laundering money 10 years ago? Having nothing to do with Russia, other than the Ukrainian group had ties to Russia, but it also involved the Podesta group, which is something you never hear the media talk about. I wonder why. But, yeah, I think, after spending $30 million, we get restitution of a couple million. Yay! We only spent, 27, 28 net millions of dollars in 2 years of time and diverted enormous agency resources to violating the Fourth Amendment rights of thousands of U.S. citizens on a hunch based on a FISA warrant that was improperly issued, signed off by an a deputy attorney general who claims he didn't necessarily even read the FISA report. And it was all based on an op research document that was politically motivated, and apparently somebody along the way took it seriously enough to give it to the FBI. What a wonderful time that is. It's wonderful to know that this is how the intel agencies and the judiciary actually operate in this country. It's wonderful to know that a series of unfortunate events can unfold that leads to an almost a usurpation of our republic. Wonderful to know. Yeah, we do need to rein in the deep state. Apparently something needs to be done because this can't be allowed to happen again. It breaks people's faith in the very essence of our country, specifically people that are on the right. Because they're like, well, it's a witch hunt. It does lend itself towards... I don't think that Trump is tyrannical, is authoritarian, is trying to tear the republic apart, become a dictator or something. But imagine that this was happening in a situation where the person in charge that was subjected to this, right or wrong, and it gets out and it gets labeled a witch hunt. Imagine that person were more on the tyrannical side. They could use it as an excuse to rapidly increase executive power and basically convert our republic into an empire, Rome style. Which means good times for a very short time and then the collapse of that empire inevitably into the dustbin of history. Yeah, no thanks. I think I'd rather, my eventual possible grandkids not have to deal with that bullshit. I think it'd be a good thing. That's about all. Peace out.